What's up guys, welcome back and welcome to another Rick the Spud mechanic video. I'm not a mechanic, but I have just fixed a misfire on my MX5. It's an NB or Mark II 1.8. I believe the 1.6s and the Mark 1's also pretty similar. I actually fixed this a couple of days ago, but I've been driving it around just to make sure it hasn't come back, and it hasn't. So if your car is idling rough or it's misfiring or it's hesitating when you're driving, I'm going to tell you what I've done, some of the symptoms that I've been having and how to fix it. So the first problem that I had, mainly when it was cold, is when it would start, it would sometimes sit around about 800 revs, which is where it should be. Sometimes it'd fluctuate between 1500 revs and then back down to nearly stalling, and then it'd suddenly come back up again, and it'd sit like this for ages. If I turned it off and restarted it again, it'd be exactly the same. When it warmed up, it'd be fine, but then the following day I'd start it up and it wouldn't do it at all, and it'd be absolutely fine for a couple of days, and then 5 days later it'd start doing the same again. The other thing that would happen is the engine management light would come on. I'd plug in my Topden diagnostic tool, ABD2 reader, shout out to Topden, and it would come up with a P0420 code, which is a post-cat oxygen sensor. I'd reset the code, it would stay off for 2 weeks, and then randomly it just come back on again. A couple of people said check your coil packs, check your leads, check your spark plugs. The problem with that is I think that if that is causing a misfire, when you put your foot down and floor it, that then gets worse. But actually with this, when I floored it, it seemed to be clear and it seemed to be fine, so I didn't think it was that. Some people just said go and change the O2 sensor anyway, but they're like 100 quid for a decent one, and a lot of people said that they changed theirs and that didn't sort it. Then someone said check for inlet leaks, so I took the inlet pipe off, checked it for leaks, and it was absolutely fine. Then I took the MAF out, so the MAF's the mass airflow sensor, 2 10mm bolts under there. Obviously take this pipe off as well, but if you're checking for inlet leaks, take that off anyway. 2 10mm bolts under there. Take the MAF out, obviously take that plug off, and there's like a little bit of metal that sticks down. Don't touch it with anything, but I just squirted a whole load of carb cleaner over it, put that back in. While I was there, I pulled out the O2 sensor, or it's an oxygen sensor, or an intake airbox sensor. That literally just comes out of there. Literally was a plug on it, but just pull it out, and you'll see it there. This just looks plastic, so I don't really know how that reads anything, but it does. Clean that, then put it all back together, and it was actually worse. I cleaned that with carb cleaner. I didn't touch either of them. You don't touch that anyway. I cleaned that with carb cleaner, put it all back together, and it was even worse. It was hunting up and down, and I drove it out the door, got out to shut the barn door, and it actually died. I started it up again and it died again. And then I pulled this out and wiped it around with a cloth. Now, there doesn't look like to be anything that you can harm by wiping it around with a cloth. And then I popped it back in, and then it's been running like an absolute dream. So, if you had the same trouble as me, clean your MAF, clean your oxygen sensor. Don't clean that with a cloth, but only clean that with like a carb cleaner or intake cleaner or something like that. Not brake cleaner in my opinion, because I think that's a bit harsh. Clean that with carb cleaner, then wipe it around with a cloth, put it all back together, and it should be working. So there you go. Let me know if that helped. If it didn't help, if you tried that and it didn't work, or if you tried something else and that did work, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out my other videos, including the ones I've started doing on the little Acti, and I'll see you on the next one.